The village once lived from celebration. Red lanterns hung from every doorway. Music echoed through narrow streets. Brides walked proudly beneath silk veils, guided by their families, their futures blessed. Then one wedding went wrong. Her name was Mei Lin. She was promised to a man she had never met. A deal made between families, sealed with silver and silence. On the morning of the ceremony, she stood alone in her room, wrapped in red silk, her face hidden beneath a veil meant to symbolize joy. But joy was not what filled her heart. Mei Lin had begged her parents to cancel the marriage. She had spoken of fear, of a man known for cruelty, of rumors whispered by servants. Her words were dismissed. A daughter's duty, they said, was obedience. The wedding procession began at dusk. Lanterns swayed as Mei Lin was led toward the ancestral hall. Her steps were slow. Her hands trembled beneath the veil. No one noticed the quiet sobs. No one asked her to stop. At the gate of the hall, she collapsed. Some said it was weakness. Others said the spirits rejected the union. But the elders decided delay would bring shame. The ceremony continued. Mei Lin was lifted to her feet. Vows were spoken. Incense burned. The red veil remained untouched. When the groom reached for her face, she fell again. This time, she did not rise. Panic followed. The music stopped. The lanterns flickered. A healer was called, then another. But by the time the veil was lifted, Mei Lin's eyes were open and empty. She had died beneath the veil. The elders argued a death during a wedding was an omen too dangerous to acknowledge. To admit fault would curse the village. So they made a decision that night. Mei Lin was buried quietly, still wearing her red veil. No prayers, no mourning, no justice. They told the villagers she had run away. That was the first mistake. The second came 3 nights later. A merchant traveling through the village claimed he saw a woman standing at the old wedding gate. She wore red. Her veil moved as if breathing. When he greeted her, she turned slowly. There was nothing beneath the veil. The next morning, the merchant was found kneeling in the dirt, his face frozen in terror, his hands clutching torn red fabric. After that, the sighting spread. A bride at the crossroads, a red figure near the ancestral hall, a veil hanging from trees where no weddings had been held for years. People began to fall ill. Couples refused to marry. Lanterns were taken down. The elders finally consulted a priest. He listened in silence, then asked one question. "Where is her body?" When they told him she had been buried with the veil, his face turned pale. "A bride who dies unjustly must never be sealed in red," he said. "Red binds her sorrow to the world." They rushed to the grave. It was empty. That night, the red veil bride walked the village openly. She did not run. She did not scream. She stood at doorways where weddings once took place. Her veil brushed the ground, stained dark at the edges. When someone approached, the veil lifted just enough to reveal shadows, moving where a face should be. Those who looked too long never spoke again. The priest attempted a cleansing ritual at the ancestral hall, the same place where her vows were forced, where her voice was ignored. As the final chant began, a wind swept through the hall. Lanterns shattered. Incense died. A red veil fell from the ceiling and wrapped around the priest's face. The ritual ended with silence. After that night, the village was abandoned. Travelers still passed the ruins. Some report seeing a figure near the old gate at dusk. She stands perfectly still, as if waiting for a ceremony that never ended. And sometimes, when the wind is right, you can hear fabric moving softly, like a veil being adjusted for a bride who was never meant to marry. They say the red veil bride does not seek revenge. She seeks witnesses. So the world will never forget what happens when silence is chosen over mercy. Some stories are meant to be remembered, not because they are true, but because they remind us of our mistakes. every curse has an origin, and every origin begins with a human choice. This has been Cursed Origins.